that you can leave it unmuted as long as there isn't a bunch happening in the background. But if a neighbor's mowing their grass or something like that, you'll probably want to keep it muted between comments.
All right, the meeting is now live on YouTube. We're going to get that published.
Okay, thank you, Devin.
Weird silence.
I don't think we ever get to really look at each other, so this is kind of nice.
All right, good afternoon,
Hey.
everyone. It's officially 4 o'clock, so I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If I could have roll call, please.
Peggy Bossy,
Here.
Paul Godwin,
Here.
Chris Huster,
Here,
Karen Kellums,
Here.
Dan Downey.
Here.
this meeting is a meeting of the Deer Park Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting.
All right, may I have a motion for the approval of the meeting agenda?
So move.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving this afternoon's meeting agenda, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. District recognitions and donations.
Yes, we do have a few donations this month that I would like to approve. We have donations from the Girl Scouts that are going towards the junior senior high school in the amount of $370.81. Thank you to the Girl Scouts. Greater Grace Fellowship is donating $100 to the junior senior high school. Davies Landscaping is donating $150 to the junior senior high school. Melissa Edwards is donating $50 to the junior senior high school. Deer Park Wildcat Boosters class of 2021 is donating $250, and the University of Cincinnati 3D Printers Club is donating $650. And these are all, I believe, to support prom and after prom and senior activities that we still intend to have, and I'll talk about a little bit later.
Thank you. We'll approve those further on down the agenda.
And a big thank you to all those corporations, churches, and individuals that donated. Very much appreciated.
Absolutely. All right, may I have a motion to approve the March 3rd meeting minutes from our board development session?
So move. Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the March 3rd, 2020 board development session minutes, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion for the March 17th regular board meeting minutes?
So move.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the March 17th, 2020 regular board meeting minutes, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're on to our treasurer's financial report.
Alrighty, just a few items of note this month that I wanted to go over with you. Overall, we are trending at 105% consistently compared to FY19, which usually equates towards inflation and if there's an increase in need. So overall, we're trending at that same 105%. It's people support services. Most see that increase compared to last year. For March, we did some supplementals that don't usually come out any other month but March, and we had a couple more this year compared to last year. The 500s, the biggest increase between last year and this year is the Google Chrome OS Management Console license. That was a bit of a jump. And again, that came out in March, and our annual service contract for Otis Elevator, we want to make sure we stay in compliance with that. The 600s are the other increase. That's just overall for the year. And that's due to the one-to-one Chromebooks, just making sure that all of our students have the technology they need to learn, especially at this time. And that's my update for the Treasurer Financial Report.
All right, may I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the March 2020 monthly financial report, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You have some recommendations now.
I do. I want to go over the authorization to invest. There's quite a bit this month, so I want to make sure that we all know what it's for. Just in Star, Ohio, we had an in lieu of taxes. I know it says purchase there, but that was a deposit. So that's what we get annually. That large amount, that $9.1 million, that redemption was moved from Star Ohio to Star Ohio Plus to make sure that our investments are safe in this time of market volatility. So we moved that to a safer place. And you can see down below that Star Ohio Plus, that's where we deposited the money that came out. So it went from one account to another. One's a little safer, not as many investments. The other one that purchased, that's another deposit. That is our second half real estate taxes. You know, you remember a little bit earlier this year, we got a larger amount and then a smaller amount came in later. And again, that was all based on timing from the county auditor. And then we have a monthly money transfer that we do every month for payroll, AP, and outstanding checks. So that covers Star Ohio and the Star Ohio Plus. And the last investment that we did is Red Tree. So what we did is we sold all of the commercial paper that we had, just because we kind of foresaw that that was going to be a bit of an issue to actually sell that later, which was a good decision for the district. So we ensured financial security of our investments by moving that from Red Tree and moving that into a 3-month CD with First Financial. So we are still getting interest on that. It's just a little bit of a safer haven for our funds for the district.
And I want to add in there just a couple comments. First, I want to thank Melissa and Jim Stahl for their persistence here and really their foresight. When this came down the road, obviously, you know, you can kind of foresee financial implications when there's something like this coming. And right away, Melissa and Jim went to Red Tree and talked about our finances. And, you know, there's very strict guidelines and policies on how you can invest public finances, public dollars. So for the most part, it's all pretty safe anyway. However, you know, when I would say a lot, you can see there how much $1 million or so in, or Melissa, you might have 3.3 million in commercial paper. And, you know, there was a lot of volatility as we looked down the road at commercial paper. You know, the federal government actually came in and had to bolster that, do a financial injection to keep that from kind of falling apart. Now, when we moved it, we moved at a time where we took 0 losses on anything, interest, principal, nothing. And we had some pretty good interest gains up to that point. We didn't lose $1. We got out of it before anything dropped out. And so we're going to sit on the sidelines per se and keep our finances secure until things stable out and settle down. And then we would go back to what we typically do to try to draw as much interest as possible.
Correct. And just kind of springboarding off of what Jay said, I know it's important for us to diversify our investments. And that's another reason why we moved it to First Financial instead of to PNC or Star Ohio or Star Ohio Plus. We still have those funds in several different areas so that not one is particularly at risk. And that's my recommendation to authorize to invest.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
May I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Any other questions or any discussion? All those in favor of authorization to invest, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Job well done.
Thank you. My next one is the appropriation adjustment. We try to do these not super often, but usually every other month, just to make sure that we're keeping up with everything. Most of these adjustments that you will see was based off of the reallocation of federal funds. So we actually got more funds, so we were able to update the budgets with that. That 499 fund code, that 28,000, that's our bus grant, which has been a very long time coming. The state ODE doesn't usually give us money for buses, so we'll take it. So we went ahead and reallocated that. The rest of these, most of it is increase per need. I know the food service, you can see that up a little bit. We just want to make sure that we can continue to have food for our students during this time. And we've also increased a couple budgets as revenues have come in. So it's always good to see the increase of budget because we received more than we were expecting.
All right, may I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of the appropriation accounts adjustment, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Melissa. On to reports of the superintendent.
Sure. Thank you. So the only thing I put on there, and I think probably the one thing that is on everybody's mind, obviously, is kind of the state of the schools, where we're at amidst this COVID-19 crisis that we're currently in the middle of. You know, as most everybody, I think at this point knows, we've sent out releases and communicated it out that Governor DeWine yesterday closed schools for the remainder of the school year, closed schools physically. We are to continue with distance learning through the end of the school year. He also made it clear that there have been no decisions made in regards to the fall. You know, I think all options are on the table. You know, obviously we all hope that we can come back and launch school. I think April 13th is when our teachers are due to report, that we can come back and be face-to-face and have school like normal. But, you know, your guess is as good as mine on that one. And I think, you know, one of the things I appreciate about the governor is that he's very upfront and honest. And, you know, when he knows, he'll tell us. But I also want to say that, you know, if you hear things in the community, you know, I've heard rumors about, you know, we're not coming back in the fall. I've heard rumors that, you know, we're going to continue distance learning and maybe bring a few kids back at a time in the fall. All of those things that you may hear up to this point is all hearsay. It's rumors and hearsay. When we know something for a fact, and again, this is dictated by our governor, he will give us guidance and leadership in that area. We will let our community, and I will let you as a board know ASAP. So just know that if you hear anything different, it is not that's false. That is not fact until you hear it from me. Okay. Currently, the principals, based on the announcement yesterday, our principals are working with their staff to organize and finalize the last home instructional work through May 21st. We're working through a lot of those details right now. You know, one of the things I will say, we have had a lot of very positive feedback from parents and students about the opportunities that our teachers are providing to their kids. I personally, just in the last day and a half, have had 2 emails just really touting what our teachers are doing, especially in this different and difficult time. You know, they're providing a lot of great opportunities to our kids, and it's really cool. I think, you know, at the beginning, we were all in a feeling out process. You know, some folks, some families, some kids were a little overwhelmed by the amount of work. Some were underwhelmed by the amount of work. And we were trying to feel it out and figure out to the best of our ability. And I think our teachers, kudos to them, because they continue to refine their processes and try to make it the best they can for our kids and our families without adding unneeded additional stress. You know, we're talking about turning assignments back in, and that's difficult for some families. And, you know, our principals, I've talked to our principals who in turn, I think have talked to their staff, you know, about if a parent or a family is unable to return work via a cell phone picture or a scan or an email, if the parents can just tell us that, hey, I checked my child's assignment, they got it done. That's good enough for us. We're trying to be as flexible as possible. So I just want to make sure that that's clear and try to relieve some stress from our parents and our families, because everybody's doing the best they can. I know that, I see that, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. Paul, I think you mentioned this earlier when you and I were talking just about end of year processes, how we clean out lockers, how we get medications back to our students, how computers are turned back in. I'm actually meeting with our principals and some of our district administrators, directors on Friday to really try to hash out all of those processes. And when we have those all hashed out, we will communicate that as soon as we can to everybody. There's still, I talked about decisions for the fall. And also related to that is athletics, obviously. I just want to make sure everybody understands that OHSAA is very clear at this point that they are following what the governor is ordering. So, they didn't cancel spring sports until the governor said we were done with school, physically coming to school through the end of May. They did, OHSAA and Jerry Snodgrass did not cancel until that announcement was made. So I would expect obviously them to follow suit regarding summer conditionings. I know we have our fall sports come in July and start their workouts, and all those things are up in the air right now. We just don't know about those. One of the other things I think is really important that is on our minds, as well as our parents and our kids, are senior activities. Our seniors are rightfully upset about some of the things that are happening that are out of their control as they're out of our control. But I just want to make sure our seniors and the families of our seniors know that we're going to do everything that we can to make their last month and a half of their senior year memorable. We want to have prom. We want to have graduation. We want to make sure that they have the opportunity to do that in person. Again, a lot of that is dictated by our governor. And if for some reason the stay-at-home order isn't lifted, or we can't have mass gatherings of 10 or more people through the summer, we're also kicking around additional ideas where we can actually come together in a safe way and still celebrate. We're going to be putting signs out in all the yards for our seniors. I know some parents have already taken the initiatives to do that themselves. Jake Snyder, our PR director, he has created a sign that I think is really cool looking, and those should be done by the end of the week. And then we'll get some volunteers out next week and place those in our yards. I know Mr. Huster, the athletic department, they did that for our spring athletes as well. So we're going to do some of those things also. Jake is working on a senior montage tribute, that video that we'll put out in May as well. So I'm sure our seniors will be seeing, or possibly the families of our seniors will be receiving an email over the next few weeks to bring in pictures of them, because one of the traditions that we're going to be missing is walking through Amity. And so we're kicking around something special that'll hopefully, obviously it won't take its place, but hopefully it'll help replicate the best we can. So those are some of the things that are happening currently regarding COVID-19. Do you guys have any questions or comments, concerns about those items?
No. I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. It's definitely uncharted territory for everybody. And again, I mean, I knew we had an awesome staff before this, but these kind of scenarios really bring out either the best or the worst in people. And really it's brought out the best in everyone that I think works for us. They've done a tremendous job. And again, I can't compliment them enough. So appreciate all their hard work.
We agree with that. Anybody else?
No.
All right, we will move on to recommendations.
Okay, thank you. My first recommendation is to approve the proclamation for Teacher and School Employee Appreciation Week, which is May 4th through May 8th. Unfortunately, again, we can't be here in person to celebrate that and thank our teachers in person, but I would like to read the proclamation that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and begin that. Whereas the week of May 4th through 8th is Teacher School Employee Appreciation Week, and whereas a strong, effective system of free public school education for all children and youth is essential to our democratic system of government, and whereas no other profession has so great an opportunity to make a lasting and life-changing impact on the lives of so many, and whereas from seed to seedling to sapling to tree, the year so carefully given to nurturing and gentle pruning makes a difference in the way an oak tree develops So also, left to the wilds of nature, the sapling may become bent, gnarled, or broken, giving shade to no one. If tended, a mighty oak will grow strong and tall, able to provide shade, relief, and beauty for generations. Whereas a teacher, school employee, you are the tender of these young seedlings. In you rests the hopes of future generations. Each day you provide knowledge, demonstrate values, and create a sense of wonder that will benefit them for a lifetime. Whereas teachers, school employees should be accorded high public esteem, reflecting the value of the community places on public education. And whereas it is appropriate for the Deer Park City School District to pay tribute to the teacher, school employee profession as a whole for their dedication and commitment to educating their students. Therefore, be it resolved that the Deer Park City Schools Board of Education formally designates the week of May 4th through 8th, 2020 as Teacher School Employee Appreciation Week, and encourages schools and the entire community to recognize the importance of our teachers/school employees.
All right, may I have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the Teacher School Employee Appreciation Week proclamation for May 4th through the 8th, 2020, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. My next recommendation is to accept the multiple donations that I read previously, totaling $1,578.81 from local businesses and community members to support the students and staff of Deer Park City Schools. These donations will be used at the discretion of the superintendent.
So move.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the donations to be used at the discretion of the superintendent, please signify by stating aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My next recommendation is to approve the Go Solutions Group Incorporated contract beginning July 1st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the Go Solutions Group contract beginning July 1st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021, please signify by stating aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My next recommendation is to approve the 3-year agreement with School Point, Inc. for improved district communication software beginning on April 21st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2023.
So
So
move.
So move.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Just want to make sure everybody is aware that School Point is actually a all-encompassing group that is going to be working with us to redevelop our website and also improve our communications home through our all-call system and our email delivery. We do have a year contract left with Go Delivery, so we will continue with our current system for actually sending out releases to the community. But hopefully, and it also, this School Point has just developed this software, so it'll give us a year and give them a year to make sure that there are no issues there. And we will have a seamless transition to School Point from a release standpoint, an email release standpoint, come next year around this time.
All right. Any idea once we approve this, like when we will see the new website?
Jake is shooting for a summer launch, summer release prior to the beginning of next school year, but obviously he's got some work to do, and it might pose a little challenging from a design and a content standpoint with us not being able to sit in a room together and really hash some of this stuff out. But his goal is to have it launched this summer.
Okay. All those in, any other questions? Sorry. All right, all those in favor of approving the School Point 3-year agreement for district communication software from 2020 to 2023, please signify by stating aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I should add, it's also a several $1,000s a year savings to us moving forward with School Point. So that was helpful in the decision-making process as well. Okay, my next recommendation is to approve the resolution for the continued operations of schools during the pendency of executive order regarding the closure of all district K-12 schools in the state of Ohio.
So move.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Jay, you want to just give a little update, please?
Yep, absolutely. So House Bill 197 came out several weeks ago, allowing us to do some things as a school district that don't quite coincide with board policy, that don't quite coincide with the Ohio Revised Code. So it was recommended that school district boards approve a policy allowing school districts to do things like use distance learning in place for a minimum number of hours for students to finish out this year. Otherwise, obviously, we're missing 2 months worth of instruction. We'd be going to school when they let it up 2 months during the summer if that was the requirement. But they're allowing us to use distance learning in place of that. So I'm going to go through and give you some of those different types of points. First of all, the first point is school building closure. Talks about us closing effective March 17th and continuing until at least May 1st. Now we know it's going to be through May 21st. Remote learning opportunities, how our remote learning opportunities that we're providing educational opportunities to our students in lieu of attendance hours and or days. The next piece is to support board policy regarding student grading systems. Student grading systems are dictated by board policy. In this case, at the elementary level, we're going to a pass-fail for the fourth quarter. Again, to streamline things, make it easier on our families and also on our teachers to be able to educate our students, but also not punish our students for something that they've never been involved with, and neither have our teachers. So we will be going to pass-fail, and this resolution will allow us to do that. Graduation requirements. Again, we didn't have end of course assessments, so that impacts students being able to get their points. You talk about from a work keys and from some other alternative graduation pathways. They just haven't had the opportunity to do this. So House Bill 197, in addition to this board resolution, will allow us to allow kids to graduate who were on track prior to this happening. So that's one piece. It also allows us to pay supplemental contracts, vendor contracts, and long-term substitute contracts. Obviously, we're utilizing our long-term subs who were in our buildings previously. They're still working and substituting for the teachers that they were subbing for previously. Allows us to pay those folks even though we're not in the building. And same way with vendors and other supplemental contracts. Board meetings, obviously this is new to us. We've never done a distance board meeting before, a virtual board meeting. That is not typically allowed by law, but with House Bill 197 and the COVID-19 crisis, we have been given permission to do this. However, to lock things up on our end, we wanted to approve it within this board resolution that allows us to meet virtually. At the beginning of this meeting, you may have noticed Mrs. Huster, when she read the introduction, she did not talk about public comment. That is because during this time through virtual meetings, we are not required to take public comment. However, we have provided on our website a form that folks in the community, if they would like the board to talk about certain topics, they can enter those topics into that form. We get that prior to the board meeting, and we can discuss it depending on what we want to discuss through that board meeting. So that's part of that as well. Teacher and administrator evaluations. Again, we didn't have a chance to really firm up teacher evaluations, some teacher evaluations prior to this taking place. So this gives us an opportunity to do a few different things with teacher evaluations. I've been working with the association, and there's student growth measures that are part of teacher evaluations. Obviously, we can't even give our final summative tests in order to measure student growth, when it comes to SLOs. So we're going to be using our shared attribution for the district level, which last year we were an A. And so it allows us to do some of those things in regards to teacher and administrator evaluations and be a little bit more flexible with those. And then the last two pieces talk about the effective date, and that this is in full force and effect immediately after its adoption here at the board meeting. And then also that we will comply with all public meeting laws. Again, we have this being televised right now through our website via YouTube. So it is live. We are streaming it. That is one of the requirements. So that's what that talks about. And those are the major talking points within this resolution.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No.
All right, all those in favor of approving the resolution for continued operations of schools during district closure, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My next recommendation is to approve the homestead exemption enhancement resolution for the enhancement for all citizens, including but not limited to senior citizens of Deer Park.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have some.
Little explanation.
Yeah, and I'm going to turn this over to Melissa because she knows this a little bit better than I do. So Melissa, if you could explain what we're talking about here.
Sure. This actually goes back to House Bill 59, which was enacted in 2013. What that did was eliminated the 12.5% property tax rollback for new school district levies. So a lot of senior citizens were actually affected by this because if you're lucky enough to be a senior citizen and own a home, your largest asset is your home. So when the homestead exemption program was modified in 2014, it kind of raised the bar of who was eligible to get this rollback. So I know a few of our districts around us have enacted this resolution to kind of show support for not just our senior citizens, but everybody who was affected by the homestead and rollback change in 2014. Paul actually brought this to my attention, and I dug in on it a little bit. And I think this is a great way to show that as a district, we support everybody in the community that was affected by this. So when we board approve this, I will be sending this up to our legislators, our state senator and the Ohio House of Representatives, just to let them know that, hey, we don't necessarily agree with what you've done because of how much this is affecting our community.
Thank you. Any questions or other questions or comments?
No.
All right, all those in favor of approving the homestead resolution, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And I do have some personnel this evening. My first recommendation is to approve the rescinding of the supplemental contracts for the 1920 school year of Lillian Haniff and Mark Devine.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor of rescinding the supplemental contracts of Lillian Haniff and Mark Devine as academic coaches for the second semester, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And my next recommendation is to approve the supplemental contracts for the 1920 school year of Lillian Haniff, Evan Hills, Mark Devine, and Evan Hills again. And I can explain that in just a minute.
So moved.
Second.
All right, you want to go ahead and explain?
Yeah, so Lillian and Mark were our academic coaches for the second semester, and they obviously did this all the way through third quarter. So what we did, and to continue into fourth quarter, Evan Hills had agreed to pick up that role for both of them through the fourth quarter. So what we did is we rescinded Lillian and Mark's full contract, and then we approved a split contract for Lillian and Mark. And then Evan Hills is going to take the other split from Lillian and Mark. So that's why he's on there twice to receive both of those supplementals. He's doing the job of two people for the fourth quarter.
And what are they doing as their job?
So right now what Evan is doing, typically we have our academic study tables. And so that's what Lillian and Mark had supervised and helped our students with. Now what Evan is doing is he's monitoring that. He is calling every student weekly, talking with families and students that might be struggling, that might be falling behind, and helping them stay caught up from a eligibility standpoint for both athletics and clubs and other extracurriculars. So that's what he's doing.
How is that working out?
The feedback I've had from Greg is that it's working out really well. Evan does Mark and Lillian did a nice job. Evan is doing a great job as well. He's very thorough. He communicates really well with our kids, builds great relationships, and he's doing a good job with it.
Good.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of approving the supplemental contracts as academic coaches second semester, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My next recommendation is to approve the supplemental contract for the 2020-21 school year for Susie Beck for summer school coverage.
So move.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
How's that gonna look?
It's online. So, you know, in the past, our teachers would come in and have have like an office hour in school where kids could come and meet with them. They might not be able to do that this year. It might all have to be done online, as Susie
This
makes.
is the same program that Dr. Orzo used before?
Yes, it's Apex.
Any idea about how many students we're looking at?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the supplemental contract for Susie Beck for summer school, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My next recommendation is for employment for the 2020-21 school year for Brady Marsh, Courtney Deller, and Stacia McKeever.
So move.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Just an FYI, these three obviously are new names to us. We usually like to meet in person and welcome them and do the rightful introduction, but hopefully they're tuning into the live stream. But Brady is coming to us from Dayton. He has 1 year under his belt, and he is going to be a 9th grade math teacher for us. Principals and the teachers that were on the committee said great things about Brady. Brady actually did his student teaching at Delhi Middle School, where I used to be the assistant principal. So I did a little digging on Brady myself and had nothing but rave reviews from the teachers that work with Brady at Delhi. So we're excited to have Brady. Courtney Deller, she's also going to teach high school mathematics. She's coming to us from Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy. And actually Courtney worked in Oak Hills when I was there as well. Strange connection. And I didn't get involved till the interview process until the very end when they recommended them. But Courtney did a nice job at Oak Hills when she was there, and we hope she continues that here at Deer Park. And then Stacia McKeever. Stacia is going to be teaching our alternative school, which is going to be new to us. Stacia has a lot of experience in this area. She's been doing it for an awful long time. She started in Laughlin schools and now is in Michigan, but she's going to be coming back home, and we feel very fortunate to have her. She's already hit the ground running and is asking, you know, can I do this? Can I do that? She's trying to build this program from the ground up, and we're lucky to have her. We're pretty excited to have her on board. So
Outstanding.
yeah, welcome to all three of them.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the employment of Brady Marsh, Courtney Deller, and Stacia McKeever for the effective 8/13 of 2020, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard.
Yes, thank you. My next recommendation is to approve the contracts of Michelle Ellis, Stacy Orso, Jim Stahl, Jeff Lewis, and Joanne Brinkman.
So move.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Very excited to approve these and keep our team together.
Absolutely, very exciting.
All those in favor of approving the administration director and supervisor contracts for Michelle Ellis, Stacy Orso, Jim Stahl, Jeff Lewis, and Joanne Brinkman, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My last recommendation is to approve the resignations of Tom Salmon and Lillian Haniff.
So
So
moved.
move.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Just want to thank both of them for their service to Deer Park. Tom came in as our school security officer last year, and I believe his daughter is pregnant with her first baby, and they live in Michigan. And so Tom's going to spend a lot of time on the road, he said, and you know, unfortunately can't commit to both, but he's done a great job for us. And thank Lillian Hannah for her service as a special education teacher at the junior high as well.
All those in favor of approving the resignation of Tom Salmon and Lillian Haniff, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that is it for my superintendent recommendations.
Thank you. We're moving on to board discussion. Anybody have anything they'd like to discuss?
I just have one quick thing. Again, earlier I talked about rumors and hearsay. I just want to address the Verizon tower. You know, a few community members have talked about the Verizon tower, and I've seen a lot of things that have been sent to me through social media and other things about this new 5G tower. First of all, it's not a 5G tower. It is a 4G tower. 5G communications towers, I guess. They're not even really towers. They're a lot smaller. They're usually put on telephone poles, light poles, those types of things. This is a 4G tower. We confirmed that with Verizon. Again, there were 2 public meetings held at I believe at Deer Park, the city building. And then also, I believe the township had a meeting on it as well. This is going all the way back to 2017 when we started these negotiations, 2016 really, with Verizon. So, it's going to add quite a financial investment to the district. And, for us, they were going to put that tower up in Deer Park. And fortunately, we can reap the benefit of of that tower being in our community. Again, it replaced the light tower. We did put the lights on it last night when we lit up at 8:20 for our seniors. Unfortunately, that piece isn't quite working yet, but it still looked really cool. I think it was Mike Long I saw on social media was sent to me, community member who took some drone footage. Thank you, Mike, for doing that and posting it. I thought it looked fantastic. It was really cool looking. We appreciate him doing that. But I just wanted to clear up those rumors about the Verizon tower. It is not 5G.
All right, anything else for discussion?
So how are we going to communicate to parents about what's going on during this virus, as far as things that are happening in the district? Are you going to just do that through an email, website?
I think it is event specific. We'll utilize all our forms of communication. You might have seen the email mass communication that went out yesterday. There were a lot of things in that email. There was probably 10 to 15 different separate paragraphs that were addressing different points. But important senior events, those types of things probably be an all call and an email. But we'll utilize all of our forms.
I just want people to be able to see what's going to be occurring, especially as the end of the year approaches and we have the things going on with the seniors and that if we can have distance people participation, that we can do it.
Absolutely. And that again, these are strange times, obviously, and it's an unfortunate circumstance, especially for our seniors. But, when we're allowed to gather together and have people together, we'll make sure we communicate that too, because that's what we want to do first and foremost for everybody. Another thing I guess I should address is the band trip to Disney. Just to make everybody aware, again, it is our ultimate goal that our students can experience this. This is something they wait 4 years for. Families save up for 4 years, and it is a really cool experience. Obviously now with the ban from the governor being, or I guess I should say the school closures through the end of May, we cannot go May 22nd like our rescheduled date was. I'm not even sure Disney will open at that time. They are closed currently, and who knows how long they're going to stay closed for. But I know Mr. Bauer and the rest of the staff within the band department, they're looking at an alternative date in June right now. They're trying to lock something down. Again, very, I guess I should say, dictated by both Disney and the governor. So we're going to continue to put dates out there and then put plan C, D, E, and F in there as well in case plan B, C fall apart. But we want our kids to experience all that stuff, and we're going to do the best we can to make sure they do experience it.
Their safety's most important right now. So
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Well, I know we as a board appreciate all that all of you are doing, teachers, administration, staff, everyone is doing for our students. So we do appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody's working very hard, and so that's much appreciated.
Anybody else have anything? All right, we do not have need for executive session, so if I can have a motion for adjournment.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please signify by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much for being here and attending.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.